Chapter 1. Seminole Wind, Florida, 1868. The gator's den smelled like sin, money, and the Florida swamp. It was late spring of 1868, and Peace River Landing was already choking under a thick blanket of humidity. The air hung heavy and wet, clinging to the skin like a second layer. Spanish moss dripped from the cypress trees surrounding the settlement, and the constant drone of insects filled the night. Inside the big two-story cypress building raised on thick pilings over the water, the air was even heavier. The sharp tang of spilled whiskey mixed with the greasy smell of frying mullet, cheap cigar smoke, and the unmistakable, sweet skunky scent of hash oil. Drifting out from the back parlor, lanterns swayed from the heavy wooden beams overhead, casting flickering orange light across the crowded room. The shadows they created danced across faces, some friendly, most dangerous. In the far corner, blind Johnny Ray sat hunched over the old upright piano, his snow-white hair glowing under the lantern light as his fingers danced across the keys, playing a low, dirty ragtime tune. The old man wore his usual dark spectacles and battered bowler hat, a half-smoked cigar clenched between his teeth. He didn't need to see the room to know exactly who was there and what kind of trouble was brewing. Gator hides covered the walls, and a massive 10-foot stuffed alligator hung above the bar, its glass eyes glaring down at every man who walked through the doors. The gator's jaws were frozen open in a permanent snarl, as if it were still hungry. Cole Gator Maddox stepped inside, 16 years old, but already moving like he owned the swamp. His cold Arctic blue eyes swept the room once, slow and careful. He wore a brand new duster made from the hide of a 12-foot bull gator he had killed with nothing but a knife just 3 weeks earlier. The thick, textured leather still carried the faint scent of the swamp. His twin Colt revolvers rode low on his hips, the golden Serpent grips catching the lantern light with every step. He had barely taken 3 steps when a booming voice cut through the noise like a gunshot. "Gator, there's my boy." Sly McCoy was holding court at the big round table in the back corner, his gold front tooth flashing every time he laughed. His battered brown bowler hat was pushed back on his greasy dark hair, his red shirt half unbuttoned and stained with sweat and whiskey. Ruby sat sideways across his lap, her wild red hair spilling over her shoulders as she laughed at something he whispered in her ear. Cole dropped into the empty chair beside them. Sly immediately slid a jug of swamp lightning across the scarred tabletop. "Drink up, kid. We got Cubans waiting on the docks in an hour. 6 barrels of shine and 4 pounds of that good Blackwater hash." Cole took a long pull. The harsh corn whiskey burned all the way down, but it felt right. He set the jug down and looked around the room. Sly leaned in closer, his voice dropping just a little. "Those Bayou butchers out of New Orleans been sniffing around our routes. Remy said he saw 2 of 'em down at the docks yesterday. We gotta stay sharp tonight." Cole gave a small nod, his Arctic blue eyes scanning the room once more. Mama Rose stood behind the bar like she owned the world, her thick arms crossed over her chest, dark braided hair gleaming under the lanterns. Her sharp eyes missed nothing. If anyone got too rowdy, Mama Rose had a sawed-off shotgun under that bar and 0 patience for fools. At the far end of the bar, Remy Silk LaSalle leaned back looking too clean for the swamp. His black string tie perfectly straight. Boots shined even in the mud. Lila was pressed tight against his side, her fingers playing with his collar while she whispered in his ear, clearly obsessed. Pearl moved quietly between the tables, her dark hair falling like a curtain across her face, the strand of pearls around her neck catching the light every time she leaned over to serve a drink. Jessie was being her usual loud self near the gambling table, laughing with a group of cattle drivers, her low-cut blouse doing exactly what it was meant to do. Sly barked out a loud laugh and slapped the table. "That's my boy. Now finish that jug. We got business tonight." Cole took another drink, letting the burn settle in his stomach. His eyes kept drifting toward the door, half expecting trouble. Mama Rose suddenly called out from behind the bar, her voice cutting through the chaos like a whip. "Sly McCoy, if you're gonna keep running your mouth, you better pay your tab first." Sly threw his head back and laughed, gold tooth flashing bright. The night was young, the whiskey was flowing, and the Cubans were waiting. But somewhere, out there in the darkness, danger was waiting too.